Hey everybody, Nate Lee here, and I'm going to share with you one of the most important concepts I ever learned about learning and practicing music. And I'm one who I've played 26 years, and for the first easily 15, maybe more than that years, I did not practice correctly because I had not been shown how to practice. And a lot of teachers I encountered probably assumed I already knew how. I had been playing and practicing a lot, so I was getting results, but not nearly as fast as I would like to. And probably a lot of people I studied with too didn't really know how to practice themselves. It's really common. Now, this day and age, we have a lot more access to good information about how to practice, things like this YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, by the way. The stats tell me that about 50% of you that watch the channel aren't subscribed. So if you like this kind of stuff, subscribe, and I hope you'll click the like button and share with a friend as well. Other great resources are the books on my recommended book list. The most important one related to this topic is The Practice of Practice by Jonathan Harnum. It's an amazing book. I've never met the author, but I would like to. He has really changed the way that I play and the way that I teach and practice. When a student brought me that book back in, 2014 or something like that, it was a big deal when I read that and learned the things from it. So a lot of the things you learned from me come from that book. This concept that I'm going to talk about today, I don't know if it's in the book or not, but it has to do with getting past the hard part of a song. Now, a student was telling me just today that they've found that when they practice a song, they'll get pretty good at it, and then at some point possibly lose interest or feel like they're just not going to be able to get farther, and it gets kind of put by the wayside. And I told this student, same thing for me and for a lot of people. This happens a lot. And there's different reasons it can happen, but often it's because we get to a barrier. It's either something that's difficult and we're intimidated by it, or something that's difficult and we're not intimidated by it, but we've practiced it a bunch and just can't seem to get back to it. Or get past it. We've spent all this time on it. We can't get past it. So then we stop. We stop practicing it because why keep going if you're not getting results, right? And this is where knowing the right way to get past these difficult things is really helpful. One of the most strong indicators that I see of people who are going to get better in the many hundreds of students that I've taught private lessons and camps and workshops, one of the main indicators of success is that they have good problem-solving skills. When they run into a problem, they try to figure out why it's a problem and how they can get past it. And most people don't do that. Most people run into the problem. They may practice very diligently, but they can't get past it. And that's it. They just say, all right, well, I guess I'm just not going to know how to do this. So it's really important to look for the way past it. Sometimes that means getting a lesson from somebody who knows what they're doing, or asking someone who knows what they're doing. But a lot of times it's something that you can figure out on your own by trying to figure out what is the nature of the problem. So I have two examples I want to give from my own music practice this week. I've got some gigs coming up this weekend with 𝘀𝗙𝗽𝗽𝗽, and we are doing some Flatt & Scruggs music and also some of his own music. And I'm taking this opportunity to learn more accurate breaks from the original recordings instead of just what I've always done, which is usually something pretty close but not exact. And so I chose a couple that I really wanted to do exactly the way they had been played. And I ran into some ruts. So one of them was Heavy Traffic Ahead by Bill Monroe. And there's this one section that the timing is just really weird. So I practiced it, kept playing along with the recording. The way I normally would start for things when it comes to practicing timing of something is just play along with it over and over and eventually lock into the timing. The thing is, most people will do that and keep doing it. And if they're getting no results, they just keep going because we've all been told, oh, just keep practicing and you'll get better. Just keep practicing. The trouble is, once you've spent a certain amount of time doing this, let's say 10 minutes playing along with a recording, hoping you'll get the timing, if it doesn't come, it's time to try something else. So I realized this after spending too long trying to get it down, thinking, all right, if I just keep playing it, I'll have it. And finally I realized, wait a minute, I'm going to have to stop and solve this problem. Now, the nature of the problem was an understanding of timing. There's a gap that feels very weird between two licks, and I was misunderstanding the timing of that gap. So to fix it, I had to understand the timing of that gap, or it just wasn't going to change. Maybe I'd play along with it enough times to finally get it, or listen to it enough times to finally get it without understanding that timing gap. But the problem with that is, one, that takes very long, And two, as soon as you forget it, then you have to get into all that practice again. And if you have a performance or a jam where you're feeling even a little bit nervous, then that can go away. It can be a problem. So you have to understand the timing of it. So I did. I figured out, all right, there's a dotted quarter here, and I need to count to 3 there. And you can do whatever you need to understand the timing. You could count the number of boom chucks that are happening during a particular lick or in between licks. In this case, what I had to find was where beat 1 was. And I had to find out what the time values of each note were, meaning which ones are eighth notes, which are dotted quarters, half notes, whole notes, etc. Once I got that, I understood it. And then my practice started to mean something again. It started to actually be useful instead of being completely, well, maybe not completely, but moderately useless. So that's problem number 1 solved. Now I ran into another problem, and this one was with Old Salty Dog Blues. Now I was learning the original version of Salty Dog Blues by Flatt and Scruggs. And this one has, I believe it's Benny Sims, but me and a student talked about it some today, and that's who we think it is, but we didn't dig super deep. So if it's not Benny Sims, let me know. Now, I'm not talking about the Paul Warren break, the one you can see on YouTube. I'm talking about the original, that thing. So I learned it, and it was, I had it down fine, but I had a pitch problem. I go up to 3rd position, and it sounded good, and then I play the part that goes over the E lick, or the E chord, which is a G sharp and an E, and it would be out of tune every time. So I had to analyze what's going on. I did the same thing, but I was a little smarter this time. I only tried it recklessly for about 10 minutes, and that's the line where I usually say, all right, I need to change my approach, because if it took me 10 minutes trying to get better at something that didn't get better, that's when I need to look at the approach. It doesn't mean 10 minutes will fix every problem, but this is one that 10 minutes should have fixed. So then I had to think, all right, well, what am I doing? And as it turns out, I wasn't choosing the best positions to play things in, and I wasn't choosing the best fingering to play things in. So I chose fingering and positions that worked better for me, and that improved it a lot, but it still wasn't quite there. There were still some pitch problems. So I had to figure out, all right, what's the deal? Why am I out of tune on this double stop? And I analyzed it some more and realized that I didn't have a good understanding of where those notes actually were on my neck. I knew the concept, but I hadn't really thought into it enough to really make the connections of, oh, when I put down my fingers in the right spot, they are in these particular spots that I know from prior experience in this, that, or the other thing. It wasn't until I made that connection that I could then play it well. And then very quickly, as long as I'm warmed up anyway, very quickly I got to where I could play it well. It's not the easiest thing I've learned out there. If anybody wants to learn it, if you think I should put it on this channel, let me know. It'd be fun to teach you all how to play it. So anyway, with those 2 problem-solving skills, I was able to then take something that wasn't working and turn it into something that was working. And again, then my practice started to become valuable again. Now, those are just 2 examples. It can also be that you're not sure of the notes, or you can't play something fast enough, or whatever it is, but there's always an answer to what is wrong. There's always a reason that you can't do the thing you're trying to do. And you're going to get better faster and get a lot better than you otherwise would if you use problem-solving skills, and in whatever way you need to. Try to work it out yourself first. It's a great idea. If you can't figure it out, go find somebody who knows how to do it and get their help. Get on YouTube. See if you can find someone explaining it. See if you can watch somebody do it. Using those problem-solving skills is a major factor in becoming better at your instrument. So do that. And also subscribe to this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure to click that like button and share as well. And if you missed the You Can Play by Ear class, you can still access that material. Link down below. Same for Fiddle Licks That Changed Everything and Fantastic Chords and Where to Find Them. And I'm cooking up the idea for the next class. I'll be announcing hopefully within a couple days, but realistically, you know me. I know me. It's probably going to be a week. So drop your guesses what you think it might be down in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.